What is up, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everybody that's tuning into this video, guys? Thank you for staying with me this long as we continue on breaking down the pithy, dark sayings of Proverbs, right? Because we want the wisdom, we want the knowledge, we want to apply this to our life so we can be successful, so we can have good success, not just for our own for our own self, but for other people as well, right? And guys, today we're on Proverbs chapter 1, verse 10. And what is it telling us today? It says, "My son, if sinner entice thee, consent thou not." See, we got to jump right into it. I love the fact that it had the word if sinners will entice you, right? Because you have that choice. You have that option. You can say yes, you can say no. You can avoid them. You can do all these different things to avoid temptation so you can avoid sinners because sinners are going to do what they're going to do, right? For themselves, whether they came to the knowledge of Christ or not, whether they know that they are sinners and they need a redeemer, they need to be forgiven of their sins, they're going to keep on doing what they're doing. They're going to live their life, but they're going to keep on living how they want to live. And we know that they're not content on living an ungodly life by themselves. Let's all be honest with that, right? Because think about it. When you're trying to do something good and productive in life, how hard is it to get other people to join you? It's a good challenge, right? So let's say you're a person, you're trying to get into a weight loss journey for yourself, right? You're like, hey, I've been hitting the gym. It's really hard to get people to go to the gym with you. But man, if you want to say, hey, let's go grab a drink, let's go to this party, let's go do some drugs, let's go do this, people will have no issues, like, yeah, bro, let's go. And people have no problems doing that stuff. But when you're like, hey, let's go to the library, let's read some books, let's educate ourselves, let's start a business, invest in, people have an issue of just saying like, you know what, I'm gonna have to, let me think about that one. But anything else in life, they were like, I'm all in. I want to jump right in, whatever you got. But yeah, right here in context, we know that this all in scripture. Like I said, when you read Proverbs and when you read the Bible, regardless, you gotta have context. And Proverbs, it's a little bit less reading in context, and most of the time it's pithy sayings, so you can get the hidden message. But right here, it's pretty much a story about a gang of cutthroats. They're enticing this young man to join their gang, right? And I want to go ahead and read the rest of the verses. So when we get to the next one, Proverbs chapter 1, verse 11, it tells us, I'm going to read 11 through 14, where it says, if they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave and the whole as those that go down in the pit. So right there, I'm just going to stop right now. I don't want to read too much of that. But in general, when you read that, you understand that this is pretty much a game. They're trying to get this guy. They're trying to show him like, hey, let's be successful. Let's go ahead and do these things. No, it's going to bring you good success. And that's what sinners do. They make everything else look appealing, right? So you're an honest, upright person. You're doing what you're doing, right? You're reading the word of God. You're trying to live a good, godly life. And then here comes a sinner is like, hey, I see you paying your taxes. I see you being ethical at work. I see you doing all these great things. But hey, let me show you a quick route. Let me show you how to lie on your timesheet at work to get more hours. Let me show you how to, lie on your taxes, just bring that income up a little bit. You're going to get a bigger return, right? And that's what sinners do, because we already know, regardless of anything, lying, it's not a godly thing right there. It's an abomination. Regardless of what you do in life, sinners are going to be sinners. And I want to use the story of Joseph. Joseph is a prime example of right here of this verse where it says, my son, if sinner entice thee, consent thou now. Even though this is not applying to Joseph, but he applied it, right? Him and Potiphar's wife. Joseph was an upright man. He feared God. He feared God. And then when the sinner, Potiphar's wife, came up to, lure him in with some temptation, he'd be like, sleep with me. Now she kept on pressing him, like, hey, that temptation was getting real, real, and real. And Joseph was like, no, what did he do? He fled. Soon as she grabbed his coat, that dude was gone, running out the door. He's like, I ain't want nothing to do with this. Because when sinners try to entice you, and it might happen to a lot of us, the fact that when temptation comes, when the sinner entice you, consent thou not. You have a choice, right? That's the one thing you can control. You can't control your situation. You might be in an environment where you live next to a beach. You see a lot of women. I mean, don't get me wrong, you could move and whatever your case is, but you don't have to consent to the things that the sinners are doing. You don't have to consent of the things that people are doing in this world. You have the choice. It's like, no, I'm a God-fearing man. And that's what Joseph did. He respected Potiphar. He didn't want to betray him. And he had a God-fearing respect for God himself. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to defile myself. I'm not going to lay with this woman. And he chose the hard route. And a lot of times that's what happened to us in life. Let's be real, right? We're like, you know what? I gotta tell the truth. I gotta tell the truth. This person's doing wrong. And you speak up. And yes, you're gonna get some harsh punishment. And I know the punishment that you're getting, you're like, this ain't fair. I did the right thing. Why is this happening to me? Right. But right there, what is that doing to you in that situation? It's creating patience. It's giving you more respect because God's gonna look at that. It's a verse in I can't remember where it's at. I believe it's in Songs. It's like, no good thing will be withheld from those that walk uprightly, right? It may be a time, an hour, or a season that, hey, you did the right thing. You didn't lie on your taxes. You didn't lie on your income, be like, hey, I'm in the lower income because I want to get a break off my taxes. I want to get a break, getting the food stamps, whatever it may be. You're like, I'm going to do the right thing. Whether it costs me more up front, right? You be like, okay, I have to pay more in taxes because I chose to tell the truth. God's going to bless you, and no good thing is going to be withheld from those that walk uprightly. You're choosing to walk uprightly. You're choosing to do the right thing. And guys, that is going to protect and preserve you because we already know when you start to lie about things, doing things wrong, you got to lie about the other lie to cover up the other lie, the other lie, another lie, and it keeps on going on. And right here, imagine that Joseph slept with Potiphar's wife. And then he's gonna have to cover up the lie. Cause let's say somebody else was in that building or somebody overheard or she want to use that against him. She wants to blackmail. Now he got to cover up the lie. Be like, no, I didn't sleep with her. No, I absolutely didn't. And then bam, bam, like all these different things. What he do? He ran, he fled and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, Potiphar was a powerful man. If he knew deep down that Joseph did something shady or did, betrayed him, he could have had him killed. But instead he threw him in prison. He's like, you know what? I had to do something with this man. My wife is right here. She's screaming. And regardless of anything, I feel like he knew the signs of like, let's be real. I never been in a situation where somebody was like, sexually attacked or stuff like that, raping, whatever, like she's screaming like he attacked me. He tried to do this and this and that. And she kept his coat. You know what I mean? If somebody victimized me or attacked me, why would I keep their possessions? That's just being real. I wouldn't have nothing to do with them. I don't want to do with anything with them. You watch movies, you see stories like this. The person that was attacked, they're like, okay, they can barely stay in the room with them. They're up there and they had to be a witness, right? And they're like, yeah, that's the guy that did that to me. Or when they're pointing them out in the lineup when they get arrested, the victim, they're just like, they're afraid to look and they're like, hey, she's just like, hey, this is Joseph Cole. He tried to lay with me, he tried to sleep with me and all this other stuff. And I'm pretty sure Potiphar is probably like, yeah, I don't think that happened. Like this kid feared God way too much. But guys, regardless of anything, that's the end of this video. And I just really want to hit on top of that nail. This is so true. Sinners, they are going to try to tempt you, right? And you're going to be like, you know what? I have to separate myself. I have to pull myself apart because now you have been transformed. You have been renewed your mind and everything else. And you want to honor God. And guys, that's pretty much the end of this video. I want to keep on rambling along. But pretty much we'll stay tuned next time so we get more of the dark pithy sayings. And guys, everybody stay blessed. And I thank you guys for tuning on to this video.